put your head in the game, 'cause your life is no mistake. Your hard work is gonna pay. Living our life by design, yeah.
Listen, you want to be locked in this morning because we're going to be talking about the rules of engagement when it comes to the imagination and your purpose. What are the rules of engagement? I want to make a statement, and it's going to preface what we're going to be doing today. So lean into this, call a friend, message them, tell them, turn on Dreamnation. Pastor Grant is here, and we're about to get started. Whenever your emotions become louder than your capacity to think, you have already lost the battle. Let's do that again. Whenever your emotions becomes louder than your capacity to think, you have already lost the battle. Your thoughts must always be guided by purpose, or at best, a goal. And most people are not disciplined enough to have goals. This is the beginning of the year, and people are developing their vision boards, they're setting goals, and so forth and so on. And I want to help you this morning because I believe in order to be successful, you need to truly understand the rules of engagement when it comes to not only being successful in achieving your goals, but when it comes to purpose. Let purpose guide everything you do. Here's why purpose settles you into who you are and why you are. Purpose gives you, write this down, identity. Purpose gives you identity. The first step in the rules of engagement when it comes to purpose is to settle in your identity. You cannot engage purpose if you don't allow it to embrace you. I'm not talking about you embracing it. You must fully give into it. And there are people who are afraid of their gifts, their talents. They're afraid of it. They feel they're going to fail. They're not going to be good enough. People are not going to like them. Oh, let me help you. You're not called to everyone. You're just called to someone. Now, listen to me very carefully. This can save lives. So the first step is identifying with your purpose, your identity. Here's what identity really is. And it took me a while, and I've been at this for a very long time, but it took me a while to figure it out, even as I researched this thing. Identity is your location. It's a geographical location. It helps you to identify where you are in the present moment. That's the other thing. In this rules of engagement, when it comes to your purpose, purpose gives you identity, and identity gives you a geographical location. You know where you're supposed to be. You know what you're supposed to do. You know who you're supposed to be with. You know that you can't do everything. You know you can't go anywhere and everywhere, and everyone cannot be with you. Here's what you got to understand. There are only a few people that are assigned to your life, and you need to be very careful because there are persons who will come and they will suck you dry. I was at Bible college, and Pastor Parsley used to say, they're nothing but suckers. Right? They will suck you dry. And everybody wants to feel needed and wanted and affirmed. But the truth of the matter is, you must become conscious, aware that in this season, 2026, you need to be intentional about your purpose. Now, we're going to help you because Most of you may say, but I really don't even know what my purpose is. I'm still trying to figure it out. And perhaps the reason you're still trying to figure it out is because you have so many things going on in your life. Let's just pause and deal with that. You have so many things going on in your life. I've told the story before about my brother in university. When he came to ORU, he and I sat down and we had some coffee, and he was like, Dwight, I don't know what my purpose is. I really want to know my purpose. And I thought, hey, man, I could what I did because it was very easy for me. So I said, listen, spend some time, have a conversation with God, and watch what happens. He's going to let you know. He said, all right, no problem. 2 weeks later, he comes back to me and he says, right, man, I'm still baffled. I don't know what my, but I was like, God, I told him to do what I did. And it just seems to me the natural thing to do is to sit with God and ask him. And so God gave me some instructions. He said, why don't you go to the dorms? I want to show you something. So I went to my brother's dormitory at Oral Roberts University, walked in, and he had a bunch of friends sitting on his floor, and they were playing video games. And you looked around the room, and there were posters and other paraphernalias and action figures, Batman, Superman. And these are the things that they were interested in. And the room was just noisy. And God asked me the question. He said, are you ready for this? I said, yes, sir. He said, now go ask your brother who else he's listening to. See, because everything speaks. Everything talks, folks. So you can't say, oh, I don't know what my purpose is. You know, no one has told me. I don't know how to find it. Well, first you have to identify what's in your climate. What's your ecosystem like? Again, I shared a bit about when I worked with the clinical facility overseas. They would have me go into classrooms and to assess what was going on with the children. And they would say, you need to pay attention to the climate in the room. Pay attention to what's on the wall, what's on the roof, the positions of the chairs, where the teacher is at, the windows. And they said, all of this can contribute, watch this now, to oversensitizing the child. His ability to focus diminishes because there's so many things going on. Here's a question I have for you. What else is going on? If you truly want to know what your purpose is, what you need to do is ask, God, help me identify what's making noise in my life. We're talking about the rules of engagement. We're talking about making sure that whatever it is that you are supposed to be doing, you have clear path to the runway. Are there any things on your runway before you take off? Can you even see it? Do you even know what they are? Well, if you don't know what they are, you're not going to be airborne. In order to be airborne, you need to identify what are those things in my life that's clouding my focus, and remove them one by one, one by one. And you need the grace to do that, because there's sometimes people in your life and you're afraid to move. You don't know what to say to them. You don't know, am I going to hurt their feelings? Now, here's what I've learned. Now, listen to me, folks. I'm sharing this with you, but it took me years. When it comes to protecting your purpose and becoming focused, you need to be extremely selfish. Pause. Pause. We're talking about the rules of engagement. Identity. What is the noise? And be selfish. Now, watch this. I was doing a couples counseling session some years ago, and I needed to research the art of communication. And the basic formula was that there is a sender, that's the one who's speaking. There was a receiver, that's the one who's listening. But then there was something else. And it truly blew my mind. Sender, receiver, noise. What are those noises? And it's not just radio playing in the background. Is your cell phone on? Is the TV on? Are the children in the background? Can you hear cars driving? What is in that ecosystem that's creating a distraction? You may be so comfortable with it and not even know it, but it's distracting you. You have to identify those noises. And if you cannot identify those noises, you're going to go through this year still asking God, what is my purpose? You're not talking to me. Yes, he's talking, always talking. The problem is you can't hear. Your frequency is on another channel. So you have to tune in to it. We're talking about the rules of engagement. All right, now, we got to go a little deeper. I was doing some research on this concept of identity, and I came across a conversation. Stephen Hawking's brilliant mathematician was giving a speech at Harvard University. And here's what he says. He says, when you don't know your history, your identity can be stolen. When you don't know your history, when you don't know your history, your identity can be stolen. It can be lost. He was saying that our identity is found in our past, but I'm going to do you one better. More succinctly, your identity is found in your origin. Where are you from? Where are you from? Now, I'm going to make this correlation, and I need you to pay attention to this. Pilate is having a conversation with Jesus, and he asks Jesus a significant question. He says, are you a king? Jesus said, you have said correctly. Now, he does something else, which helps us to understand that Jesus not only understood his identity because of his purpose, he also knew where he was from. Here's what he says. He says, if my kingdom was of this world, my servants would fight for me. What is he saying? He's saying, I know where I'm from. I know my origin. Listen to me very carefully. When you know where you are from, you know what's backing you. When you know your origin, you know what to stand on. When you do not know it, when you're confused, when you're a little bit frustrated, when you can't trust it, when you feel like nothing is working, you don't know who you are, things can be a bit shaky for you. Here is why I love this scripture, which says, a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. A wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. He's not talking about money. He's talking about his name, reputation. Now, I want you to watch me now. The wise man leaves purpose to his children. Now, what is that all about? I need my children to know where they're from, who they come from. I need them to have that, because only their true confidence is built when they can look back and see that daddy owned a bank. Daddy owned a farm. Daddy was a hard worker. Now, listen to me very carefully. There are some individuals who are never able to follow in their father's footsteps. But the problem with that is it's still there, regardless of what you do. But the point is, you can look back and see where you are from. Here's what I've learned about this thing called identity. Identity is not found in what you're wearing. It's not found in what you can purchase. Identity is not found in who you hang out with. Identity is found in where you're from. Where are you from? This is why Jesus had to come, had to die, to reintroduce us to the Father, our Father. Because we are from him, a place called the kingdom of heaven. And once you can identify that and you allow that to sink in, sit with that a while. I said, sit with that a while. Say nothing and begin to ponder that. Now, you can't say that and still behave completely opposite. We call that cognitive dissonance. But what I'm saying is, if you can sit with this thought that I am from the kingdom of heaven, and then visualize what does that look like? What does it look like to be royalty? And if you can identify what it looks like to be royalty, the next question is, can you feel it? And I almost went into a song. Can you feel it? Because if you can't feel it and you can only see it, you will not be it. See, seeing and feeling creates synchronicity and something more brilliant than any of us have ever thought. When you can see it in your mind and you can feel it, you create a memory. Write that down. The rules of engagement when it comes to purpose is that you got to see it in your mind, you got to feel it, because you got to create the memory. Memory guides your future. Why? Because whenever you can remember where you're from, you can return. I can give myself, I need a $10 bill. I need something. Whenever, yeah, give me, yeah. All right, that's, yeah. When you can see your purpose, when you can see where you're going, and then you can feel it, and you get it. Listen, I'm talking about sitting in your chair, going by the beach, sitting in your car, drinking your coffee, drinking your tea, your coconut water, and just visualizing the end. I'm not talking about the process. Let's get that out. We're not talking about the process. I'm trying to teach you the rules of engagement as it pertains to your purpose this year. Stop fooling around with those people that ain't going nowhere and doing nothing. Talking a bunch of foolishness. I'm done with that. I want to sit by myself. Why? Because I have a whole world in me. Shabbat. I got a whole world in me. Let me picture the end. Let me picture myself in my private jet flying to Dubai. Let me picture myself walking up on stage speaking to multi-millions, and let me feel what that would feel like and be grateful. Here's another one. The rules of engagement requires gratitude. So while you are picturing the thing that you desire and you're feeling wonderful about it, be grateful. Why are you going to feel grateful? Because the spirit of gratefulness is that it has already been done. Pause so y'all can get that, because I know some of y'all running around the room. The rules of engagement is that you have to picture it, you have to feel it, and then you have to be grateful for it. So I'm grateful for the building. I'm grateful for the private jet. I'm grateful for the hotel in Dubai. I'm grateful. Some of y'all just missed that. I'm grateful. Why am I grateful? Because I've already been there. It's already been given to me. Thy kingdom come and thy will be done where? On earth as it is where? Well, how does that happen? It happens through you. You are the vessel. Remember what we said? We said the priority of purpose is to reveal the source. So the source is the Father. And so your imagination really is God's way of channeling his purpose through you so that you can manifest it here. But he needs your agreement. And you can't agree by always thinking, well, I'm not good enough. They don't like me. They don't want me around. All you are doing is creating a prison for your imagination. And your imagination becomes stagnant. It becomes filled with fear. And I want you to hear me. Fear actually creates a lot of the scenarios in your life through your imagination. Fear creates scenarios through your imagination. And you're thinking, oh, things are just happening. No, it's happening because of fear. But let me just drop this, this one is free. People don't live in the past. People don't live in the future. People don't live in the present. People live in fear. Most of them. Yeah, they're anxious. They're frustrated. They're angry. A lot of them are going to work frustrated, feel like they're being taken advantage of. Some of you are on jobs where you've not been promoted, but you got people coming out of school who don't even have a BJC and being promoted over you. And you're angry, you're hurt, you're frustrated. I'm going to say this again. I said it last week. Purpose is the answer. Purpose is the answer. Your purpose gives your imagination freedom. Listen, you could lock yourself in your room and dream. You can lock yourself in the room and dream. All right, let me get back on track here. Okay. Now, here's the mystery. The mystery is we have a past, or where it all began. We just don't remember. So instead of remembering the normal way, God says to do it through hope. So let's do this again. Some of you will say, you know what, I hear you, right? And you're talking about remembering. You're talking about remembering good things, and you're talking about remembering my purpose. But what if I don't have that experience? What if I've never experienced good? What if my life is filled with trauma? Well, I'm glad you asked. There was something unique about Hebrews chapter 11. When God speaks to us, he says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for. And so I ask the question, why is it that you keep speaking on this thing called hope? Jeremiah 29 and 11. I know the plans. This word plans means purpose. I know the purpose I think towards you, or I have planned for you. That's what he's saying. I know the purpose that I've planned for you. A purpose that will not harm you. A purpose that will prosper you. Now, here's the part that blessed me. I used to just see this as just the end of the sentence, but now I realize it is the beginning. Watch this now. I know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you, not to hurt you, to give you hope and a determined end. Now, why is it determined? It's determined because hope sees it already completed. Now, here's what I need you to get. I need you to hear me now. We're talking about the rules of engagement. Whenever your life is filled with challenges and it seems like you cannot get over the hurdle, I'm going to help you. Listen carefully. For those of you who want, now, some people say they want the answer, but all they want to do is rehearse the problem. So we're not talking to that person. That person may need some more help, but I want those who say, I need the help. I'm prepared to do what I have to do for the help, and I'm listening. Okay, good. You're listening? Here's the first thing you want to do. The first thing you want to do is you want to sit down with someone who you admire, coach, pastor, a leader, all right, and share with them your heart. That's the first thing. We're talking about this rules of engagement now. Here's why this is important. You want them in your life so that they can sift your thoughts. Sift your thoughts. Remember when Jesus was talking to Peter, and he said to Peter, Peter, I pray for you because Satan has asked to sift you like wheat. Now, here's what's important. He says, well, he didn't ask, he demanded to sift Peter like wheat. Now, why is he asking to sift Peter? He wants to sift Peter's thoughts. He wants to destabilize him, confuse and frustrate him. But here's what Jesus said. Jesus says, I've prayed that your faith fail not. Why is he specifically talking about faith? Because faith is the material that creates the thing you desire. So he says, I'm praying that your faith doesn't crumble, or the thing that you desire crumbles. What is he talking about? He's saying, I'm praying that your hope remains steady. Hope in what? Hope in the thing that you say you desire. I want you to realize that that thing that you are praying for, I want you to keep that in your mind. Do not allow anything you go through to fall or to fall to you. Well, whenever you sit with someone you admire, someone who's a leader, pastor, whatever, what you're saying to them is, help me to sift my thoughts, the things that may not be of you, but those things that remain, those things that are solid. Help me to learn to think concretely, to think intuitively. Well, when you sit with people, they help you to do that. That's important. That's important because this year you need people to hold you accountable. Write that down because it's the rules of engagement. You need accountability. You need accountability because you need someone to hold you to the wicket. Bermudians will know what I mean when I say that. That's a cricket term. To hold you to the wicket. Stay focused. So you're sitting down with someone, you're saying, hey, this is my goal for this year. This is what I'd like to do. Now, here's what I found out. A lot of times, people digress from what it is that they're supposed to be doing because they're not used to the level of intensity and focus that this thing requires, and they feel they need a break from themselves. So they go and they have a drink, or they have a smoke, or they go and eat, or they party, or whatever it is, because they feel like, okay, I've given myself 24 hours, I've done some reading, I've done some writing, okay, I need a break. Here's what I've found. When you've done nothing all your life, doing something will always seem like too much. When you have done nothing all your life, doing something will always seem like too much. You need that person to keep you accountable. You need that person to keep you accountable because when you want to take a break, when you want to relax, they can say, okay, you can do that. You can take maybe a day or two, but you need to get back on the grind. You need to get back focused on what it is you're doing. Now, here's what helped me. And sometimes I can be a bit intense, but it's my nature. But here's what actually helped me. I realized that in order for me to be consistent in building businesses or pursuing my purpose, I needed to spend time with two people. Just two. Listen carefully to what I'm going to tell you. I'm telling you the secret. The first person is someone who's already a multimillionaire. And that relationship is so significant. We don't have to talk every day, but they keep me glued. The second person is myself. I only spend time with two people. Now that's important. You need to hear me carefully. The reason it's two people is because The one person has already achieved. These are multimillionaires. These are individuals that are achieving it. And I'll tell you a quick story. I remember the first time I visited this particular individual. They said to me, listen, I need you at the place where we're going to meet. I need you at the place 6 in the morning. So when we got there, this huge presidential looking helicopter landed. We got in. Before I went in, the person who was piloting the helicopter took me through some steps. He said, this is what you're going to sit on this side. You're going to put these headphones on. You can do this, da, da. And so we did that. We went up and we started flying over a large portion of land. And the individual looked down and tapped me and said, look down there. We're talking in the mic. And the person said, all of that, I'm getting ready to build a city right there. Did you hear me? Build a city. Then we went to the airport, we landed, and we went into their jet. And from there, we went into Atlanta and Washington and some other states. But what I found was, and now this person is considerably older than I am, and here's what I found. They did not get tired. Listen, I was wounded. I was like looking at my watch, and feeling my stomach. I was hungry, and I was like, what's going on? Here's what I realized. When you have done nothing all your life, doing something will always seem like too much. And I felt like it was too much, but I realized he was teaching me something without speaking. He was saying, no, you need to stay focused because you can do many things simultaneously. And I've said it earlier, when you master the one thing, everything becomes available. So find someone that you can sit with and be mentored by. Find someone that can speak into your life and sift your thoughts. You need to do that. You know, I'm a great advocate, of course, for pastors, leaders. Yes. Everybody fails us from one time or another. Listen to me carefully. You just cannot avoid it. You need a good leader, someone who's skilled, so you may have to observe them for a while and share with them what it is you're trying to accomplish or you'd like to accomplish. Allow them to vet you, to mentor you, because the task ahead for you is not only filled with a lot of challenges, it's going to try and stop you, discourage you, delay you. And when you have persons who help to vet you, they teach you how to stay steady. Just like I'm talking about this particular individual, taught me to stay steady, not to lose ground, to stay focused, just by watching them. And I can tell you, I've been with them for some decades, and I've seen some stuff that they've gone through and the poise in which they addressed it. Hope is your guarantee. Write that down. Hope is your guarantee. What is your hope? What are you hoping for this year? What do you see this year? Now, I know what some of you are going to say. You're going to say, man, I was hoping last year. I was believing last year, but nothing has happened. Pause on that. Whenever I hear those kinds of responses, a number of things comes to mind. The first thing is sometimes God will withhold that which you are seeking for. One, to make sure you are ready for it, because that's the real question. I can remember there was something I wanted to take place at the beginning of last year. Man, and I prayed, right? I saw it. I went through the process, and it felt good. And I then got the call, hey, listen, things just didn't work out. Initially, I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. You know, I prayed and I believed it. I thought I walked in it. And then God sat me down and he said, let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Look at where you are right now. Do you have the resources? Can you do this? Truthfully? Honestly? No. So you mean to tell me if I gave you what it is that you were looking for, what would have happened? It would have killed me. So you have to first be prepared for the thing you're asking for. That's important. And this is why coaching, mentoring, and all of that is so important. Because if you're not prepared for what you're asking for will not come. It's not being delayed. It's just being held. And held because it's waiting for you. So hope must stay consistent. And even if you did not see it last year, that does not mean you are not supposed to hope for it now. Now, here's the thing that's the most terrible of all. Someone who steals your car is 10 times better than someone that steals your identity. This year, you need to stay focused on solidifying your purpose because your identity is found in your purpose. Because purpose is not just what you do, it's what you do consistently, but it's who you are. It is your name, it is your brand. Remember what we said about Jesus? He said, my word is above my name. He's not saying that you must disregard my name. No, he's saying my word is my bond. That's you can take that to the bank. So focus on purpose. Develop it, strengthen it. Listen to this very carefully. Purpose guarantees authenticity. Your purpose guarantees authenticity. But it is discipline that guarantees longevity. Yes, purpose will guarantee your authenticity. And you know, it's quite interesting when you begin to do what it is that you do, people will try to compare you to other people. That's fine. That's none of your business. Stay focused on what it is that you believe deep in your heart that you're supposed to be doing. Watch this carefully. Purpose gives you authenticity. This word authenticity simply means to become authentic. Authentic. That means no one on this planet is like you. No one. I know they can sing. I know they can dance. I know they can manage. I know they can paint. I know they can, whatever it is, but they can't do it like you. Purpose guarantees authenticity, but discipline, that guarantees longevity. Now, I want to share this with you, so you need to get your pens and your papers and get ready. When it comes to your purpose, you have to allow it to help you to think. When it comes to your purpose, purpose must guide your thoughts. It must guide the way you think. So purpose really re-engineers the way you think. It changes everything. Now, this is important. I asked God the question, why is re-engineering the mind so important, especially when it comes to our purpose? Why is that so important? He then asked me 3 questions. Now, I want you to listen to this very carefully. He says, or he asks rather, what is thought? What is word? And what is deed? What is thought? What is word? And what is deed? Now, we're talking about the rules of engagement We're talking about allowing purpose to re-engineer your mind. Ooh, now I feel this one. Purpose must guide your thoughts. What is thought? Thought is the space where creativity and innovation begins. When you begin to think on something you actually created. Watch me carefully now. While you are thinking, you are creating. Somebody need to write that down. Turn to your neighbor and say, while you are thinking, you are creating. So be careful what you think. Jesus said it. He says, if you think it, it's already done. Now, why is he saying that? He's saying that because once you begin to speak it, you create it. Now, how do we know that? Because scripture tells us life and death is in the power of the tongue. If you decree a thing, it is. And then deeds. Faith without works is dead. So thought precedes words, and words precedes deeds. This is important. So when we're talking about re-engineering the mind, we're saying you must re-engineer the mind based upon the purpose for God, which God has called you for, because you need to ensure that the thoughts you have are coincide or in sync with what you are supposed to be doing, so that you can say it and so you can do it. These are the rules of engagement. Thought, word, deed. Thought, word, deed. Now, I need to give you this scripture because when I started thinking about this scripture comes to mind. 3 John 2. 3 John 2. We're talking about re-engineering the mind through purpose. Because again, we're talking about the rules of engagement as it pertains to your purpose. It says, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. Now, I want us to pause on that a bit and let's read that again, because I actually missed it the first time. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou may prosper. Okay, I got that. I feel good about that. And be in health. That's awesome. Even as your soul prospers. Wait a minute. So there is no prosperity. There is no prosperity in health if the soul does not prosper first. Listen carefully. Why is this important? Because the soul requires truth. It requires God's word. It requires food from a divine place. So the text is telling you that even as your soul matures, even as your soul grows, even as your soul is elevated. So you have to focus on ensuring that your soul matures in this year. You have to focus on the things that heal your soul, delivers your soul. Now, why is that important? It is important because the soul lives between two realms. It lives between the divine and the natural. The problem with that is the soul can only eat from one space. Now, when I say eat, what do I mean? It can only consume from one space, and it needs divine food. It needs divine food because the soul is eternal. Here's what Jesus says: do not fear the one that can kill the body. Fear the one that can kill the body and the soul. Because the soul is preeminence in the human experience. That's what Satan is after. He's after your soul. We're going to end this session on that, and I need you to hear me carefully. So here's what scripture tells us. Father, you have helped me to escape, my soul to escape the foulest snare. So that means the world creates traps to ensnare the human soul. What is the human soul? The human soul is the human consciousness. Your ability to be aware, to feel, to think, to love, to cry, to smile, to laugh, but more importantly, to create nothing from something. See, it doesn't have to exist for the soul to create it. It doesn't have to be in this natural realm for the soul to think it, to believe it, to see it. This is why you have to be very careful about the things you listen to, the people you are around, because your soul is feeding from every single thing around you every single day, and it creates nothing from it. Oh my God, listen carefully. So here you are. Lord, I need to be successful this year. Lord, I need to grow this year. Lord, I need things to happen for me. Okay. Well, you don't know the situation I was born into. So you don't know how poor I was. You don't know. Now, what's happening? The soul is regurgitating your past. Remember what we said? We said, Stephen Hawking says, if you don't know your past, you've already lost. So the soul regurgitates the past that they've experienced in this world, and it feels it deeply. It feels the brokenness. It feels the hurt. It feels the rejection. It feels the abuse. The soul is regurgitating loss. It says, all my life, all I've known is that I'm disadvantaged. All my life, all I've known is that people don't like me. All my life, all I've known. This is the soul speaking. Now, this is important because it doesn't matter how much you think good. It doesn't matter how much you want good. But if you've experienced it through the soul will remind you every single day that you cannot get past it. As the deer panteth forth the water, O my soul longeth. This year, you need to work on restoring your soul. How do we do it? Here's how we do it. 1, spend time alone in prayer and in meditation, and then begin having conversations with yourself. Here's what the psalmist says. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? Hope thou in the Lord. Now, wait a minute. What are you saying? You can actually have a conversation with your soul. This is important because every abuse, every hurt, every rejection, every pain is stored there. And you will not be able to go to this next level if you don't address those pains, those rejection. And one of the ways you can do it through prayer, through fasting, through meditation. But this is one of the most crucial points, and we ended on this. This is one of the most crucial points. You cannot heal without forgiveness. Forgive them all, not for them, but for your freedom, for your deliverance, for your breakthrough. You're talking about purpose. I admire those individuals who have achieved a level of greatness in their lives. When you have conversations with them or you talk with them and you realize that these people have gone through so much in their lives, but they've mastered letting people go. They've mastered letting things just roll off. Because they realize I cannot get stuck. I can't get bitter. I can't get angry. It causes me to stop and turn and pay attention to it. And I can't do that in this season. Yeah, they did me wrong. Yes, they said some things about me. But I got to protect my soul. I got to keep my soul clean and healthy. So I'm going to stay right here and stay focused on the assignment that is ahead of me. We're talking about the rules of engagement. You need to stay logged in because I'm telling you, we are going on a journey that is going to blow your mind. So I want you to go ahead, go on our page, fill out the partner form, lock in with us. You are going to find that your life is going to change dramatically this year. Like, share, follow, press that notification bell. We'll see you next time.
Let me tell you, we're gonna make it. We're not taking no chances. We're living our life by design, yeah.